Hare Krishna. So Krishna has described how to overcome the three modes of material nature. And now he's going to speak about what is the result that we need to expect when one crosses, one overcomes, or one surpasses the three modes of material nature. This he's elaborating in Shloka number 20. Gunan etan atitya trin dehi deha samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhair vimuktomratam ashnute. So now Krishna is saying, Gunan etan atitya trin. So that basically means that, okay, and future, then next line also, Dehi Deha Samudbhavam. Now this embodied being Dehi, when the embodied being is Gunan Etan Atitya, that is transcending. Transcending what? Transcending the three modes and which are associated with Deha Samudbhavam, which are associated with material body. What happens when he does this? Janma Mrityu Jara Dukkhahi Vimuktaha Amritam Ashnute. Such a person becomes free from Janma, birth, Mrityu, death, Jara, old age, and Dukkhair, and the distress which are coming from all these miseries. And such a person can taste what? He can taste Amritam, Amritam Ashnute. He can enjoy the nectar even in this life. This verse is a verse which actually gives us a very, very different perspective about life and a very different perspective about liberation. Now the general thought about liberation is what? The person has to die and then the person gets liberated. But here is a verse which Krishna is speaking where he is saying that even in this body you can be liberated and live a happy life. Let's see some of the points and try to understand how we can get liberated even in this body. How one can stay in the transcendental position even in this body in full Krishna consciousness is explained. Although one is within this material world, material body, by his advancement in spiritual knowledge, he can be free from the influence of the three modes of material nature. So, why are we suffering? What is that is stopping us from becoming happy? Because we are somehow, by unfortunate situations, we are somehow bound by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes the ignorance pulls us, sometimes the passion pulls us, sometimes the mode of goodness pulls us. And in this way, the living entity is suffering lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But now, after getting this rare human form, when the person decides that no, now I'll advance on the spiritual path, now I'll practice bhakti very intensely, what happens? With time, gradually, he becomes free from three modes of material nature. Now, what do you mean by practicing bhakti intensely? So here, we need to understand that we have to engage all our senses in service of the Lord every single moment. If we can be engaged completely in service of Krishna, avyarta kalatvam, without wasting a single moment, what happens? Three modes of material nature, or the person will become free from the three modes of material nature. And here it is said that he can enjoy the happiness of spiritual life even in this body, because after leaving this body, he is certainly going to the spiritual sky, but even in this body, he can enjoy spiritual happiness. If the person is above three modes of material nature, he is on the platform of Shuddha Sattva, pure goodness, and he has got the eyes, the divine eyes to see various divine entities around. Why won't he be happy? Currently, the misery is what? Currently, the misery is three modes of material nature are just making the person's life miserable. Unknowingly, unwantingly, he is pulled to do various activities in mode of passion, mode of ignorance. And we saw the results of mode of passion, mode of ignorance. It's misery when it comes to passion and foolishness when it comes to ignorance. So how can a person be happy when he's under three modes of material nature? So it's a very important point to note that as soon as we engage ourselves in practice of devotional service, at every moment when we are immersed in Krishna consciousness, what happens? with time, gradually, will become free from three modes of material nature and will be happy. Finally, that's what everyone is searching for. And here is the key. See, Bhagavad-gita doesn't give superficial solution. That do this, you'll be happy, do that, you'll be happy. Bhagavad-gita takes us to the root. And what is the problem at the root? Solve that, and automatically everything else will be taken care of. Here it is said, devotional service in Krishna consciousness is the sign of liberation from material entanglement. When one is freed from the influence of the modes of material nature, he enters into devotional service. So, when a person is completely engaged in service of Krishna, with time, as we have been telling, the person gets liberated. Now this Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, suffering, birth, death, old age, disease, it's a cycle which we all are stuck in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And even now, if our activities are not devotional, if we are not on the path of devotional service, what will happen? We are preparing another body for taking birth to start another cycle of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. So when we cross the three modes of material nature, when we surpass, we go above the three modes of material nature. And at every moment we engage ourselves in Krishna's service. We will not be bothered about this Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi cycle. Why? Because the person, he is going to break the cycle of birth and death. So the end of life, he is not going to take birth again in this world, but he will go back home, back to Godhead. So if birth is only not there, where is the question of death, and where is the question of old age, and where is the question of suffering? In this world, or this world is called as Kuntha. Kuntha means full of misery. And the other world, that is spiritual world, is called as Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha, the place where there is no misery. So that is Vaikuntha. So when the person, he ascends to Vaikuntha, then where is the question of suffering? So that's how it is said here, that in this life itself he'll taste the nectar. He'll enjoy the nectar of being freed from the three modes of material nature, and once he leaves the body, he will go back home, back to Godhead. So it's a very important thing to note. If we are really interested to live a happy, peaceful and satisfied life, we have to take up devotional service very seriously. And when it comes to chanting of the holy names of the Lord, it's very, very powerful. This Mahamantra chanting, which we have been speaking almost in every video, is so powerful that when the person starts chanting, there is so much of contamination that is cleansed by hearing the holy names. And with time, when the contamination is removed to a very great extent, the person will actually go above the three modes of material nature. So every single day, we have to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and immerse ourselves in Krishna consciousness the entire day. And by this, we will surpass three modes of material nature and go back home, back to Godhead. Now Krishna has spoken very nicely about these things. Now Arjuna is asking a question. Not one, not two. Three questions Arjuna is going to ask. So what are those three questions? So let's see that in the next video. Hare Krishna.